Welcome to Melty with the HTC Desire 610 smartphone, which is a quite beautiful looking device with a 4.7-inch screen, HD resolution, boom sound speakers and an HD camera on the front and of course a full HD camera on the back with 8 megapixels. Also flashlight, microphone is built in, quite a few features. As you can see, it's made out of plastic with a few fingerprints already on the back, which are quite easily to get on there since it's a glossy back plastic, but otherwise here on the side it's a matte non-rubber actually, just still plastic side, so it's really quite good to hold in your hand. And let's just go around the device a little bit before we go into the in-depth review. So we have here a micro USB port on the bottom for charging and transferring files to your 8 gig of internal memory. On the side here you will find a micro SD card slot, so you can expand that 8 gig of internal memory and also put in the micro or actually nano SIM card, so you can use it with your 4G, 3G or 2G network anywhere around the world. There is a Qualcomm Snapdragon 400 processor inside with quad-core 1.2 GHz, which is quite nice and fast, as you will see in a second. There's a on and off switch and the volume or the headset port, and the volume rockers are on the right side. So there's no on and off switch here on the right side. You can't double tap it to unlock it like you can do with the HTC One M8, for example, which is a quite beautiful double the price device, but of course faster processor, better camera and a full metal body. But here you can double tap to unlock the device. If it would be charged right now, it's not. Here you have to press the button on the top and then you can go into the Sense UI, which is looking quite beautiful and it's really running nicely. There's also the blink feed, which you can also turn off now with the latest Sense UI, and there's also Android KitKat 4.4.2 running, so the really latest Android software there is out there. You can read it right here. So as you're able to see, there is still with the Sense UI a few changes, like for example here the quick settings where you can just or quick icons set up your Wi-Fi, for example, enable the power saver, extreme power saver, for example, but you can say you don't want to use these 12 icons, you want to use some of the other, I think 10 that are out there. For example, I want to turn off NFC a few times more than, for example, I don't need the extreme power saving mode, just the power saving mode. So let me drag the NFC right up here, say save, and then it's not in there since the extreme power saving mode was still in there, but you can get an idea, I think, how that works. Let me just drag this down here. Here we go, and do the data usage back here, done. And then here we have now all the icons like the NFC, for example, right here. So what else do we have on here? Of course, we have a few apps installed, pre-installed, Facebook, Twitter, for example, all the Google apps that you need, like the camera, play music, FM radio is also inside, and also Chrome, Hangouts, and everything that you would need in an everyday user scenario, but also Polaris Office 5 for accessing your PDFs, Words, Excel, and any other sheets and productivity things. And also there is a backup software and even a parental dashboard built in, so you can set up the device with a password so your kids can't use it, but actually they will be able to use a few apps that you allow them to use. And there's also flashlight and other things installed. If I go to the next page, I only have Temporan 2 installed to just show you guys a little bit how good the Qualcomm Snapdragon 400 processor with the quad-core or quad cores is. So if you go back, let me just open up the Chrome browser where we will be able to see that, for example, you can easily use for SoundCloud without having to use an app, but you can also just read standard websites, like I have here a German news site, but I can of course also go here and type in the New York Times, which I should do this way, Times like that. And we are right now in, there we go, the sliding mechanism. So New York Times is of course a short word. New York should be written out. So you can see that this is running quite quickly, loaded quite quickly here over Wi-Fi, but of course 4G would be maybe even faster. But what's interesting, of course, is boom sound. So let's listen to a little bit of Kevin Lomax, one of my favorite deep house guys. I'm going to a festival anyway next week, so let me just tune a little bit up the volume here. If I can close this ad up. So let me rotate here the screen and let's listen to a little bit of Lumix. Probably not that interesting for most of you guys. But here's some really good tunes, so that's about that. Actually, we're able to see here also in Chrome that when flipping the screen, the Snapdragon 400 is really quite quick, so you don't have to worry about performance issues. As you don't have to worry also about camera quality, since the front camera with HD is looking quite good. I'm not sure if I'm looking good, but you can figure it out for yourself. So you have also here some settings that I will show you guys actually with the back camera. You can also shoot here, I think, even 720p videos. Let me check that here in the settings. Yes, exactly 720p is the maximum resolution here for front camera videos, which is also really good. But you can also use here the back camera, where you can see right now it's a little bit dirty. Let me clean that up. Here we go. So you can see that that's going on quite quickly. And you can shoot here full HD videos with a quite good wide angle. So let me just put a smartphone right here and you can see I don't even have to go far away. It's right there. You can just shoot the picture right away. So as I said, there's a few settings like we already know from the last generation HTC's phones. A few filters, for example, which could be or can be quite cool, but of course when you're used to Instagram, there are also some filters inside. But what's more interesting is that you have white balance, here also light, ISO, and of course HDR and other features also built in, or scenes actually that can be important. So what's the quality? For example, in low light, I shot a low light picture here at a club in Munich. You probably know this one if you have seen some of my videos. That's my place to go for these kinds of shots because it's difficult light for cameras. There's a lot of black and red and sometimes a little bit of blue. So it looks quite good this way. You can maybe even make out some faces here in the back. Of course, it's a little bit blurry, but it's not meant to be actually zoomed in. But if we go, for example, to the full HD video I shot there, which is also online on my YouTube channel, you can see here that when looking at the crowd and looking at the Belvedere vodka, for example, I have on the table, this is really a not bad looking video with a relatively cheap camera for about 300 bucks. That's, I think, quite alright. So what else? I told you guys about gaming. Gaming is maybe important for a lot of people. For me, usually not that much. That's why I only have tiny games like Temple Run running while it's loading. Let me show you a little bit how it compares in size to the Apple iPhone 5S, which has a 4-inch screen, not 4.7-inch screen. And actually you were able to see before also the HTC One M8, which is also about the same height, but it has a 5-inch screen. In thickness, the 610 is of course thicker, and there's also the 816, which is also about the same price range but with a 5.5-inch screen, but similar data in terms of camera and battery and everything like that, but it's of course also a little bit slimmer. So let's play for, I don't know, 10 seconds and then we are all finished here with the review of the HTC Desire 610, which is a quite alright smartphone for everyday usage. The battery life is, I think, really good, even though the battery is only 2040 milliamps big. The cameras were quite alright, as you were able to see, especially when it comes to low light, but I think the price of 300 bucks is still a little bit too high, and HTC could have put the Android buttons right here on the bottom and maybe the HTC logo up here, because there's enough space right there, because there's only here the light sensor and nothing else. So this was a really short review here with the HTC Desire 610. If you're looking for a similar device in terms of specs, check out the Motorola Moto G, maybe also quite a good phone. 4.5-inch screen, not 4.7, but otherwise same processor, and now it also has LTE and microSD card slot with the latest edition for, I think, $219 US, which is still cheaper than the 300 for the HTC, which is also good if you want to listen to a lot of music on the boom speakers and maybe just have a good grip here on the side. So thank you much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe. This was the HTC Desire 610.